Hello guys, and welcome back to Naseko's YouTube channel. Uh, in this video, Naseko is essentially showcasing how she harvests her capsicum plants, or rather fruits, that she had planted some time back. I think that was in January, and this is essentially the first harvest. So it's an exciting time. Um, Although she's otherwise indisposed, I hope that I can at least make this experience worth uh, watching for you guys. So I guess let's just jump in. For the capsicum themselves, um, I believe they were planted at around January, and in this first bit, we had a bit of a spat trying to figure out how to center the camera. Of course, it was mostly due to me not figuring out where Naseko would be in the next frame, but I hope you can still appreciate the video. If the capsicums are currently not centered, you could try and check out her nails. I'm not sure what color that is, but maybe the ladies in the ones of you who are not colorblind like I am can tell us essentially in the comments which color that is, because it's either bluish or greenish. Okay, now we're back. We're back centered. So the capsicum, um, they were planted at around January, and they've been growing well, although with a few challenges here and there, such as especially the rains. The rains have been quite challenging in as far as carrying all the groundwater. Actually, there are a few capsicums. If I don't know if there'll be a frame where you can see all of them, but those ones that were at the center, we were not able to harvest them at the time because when they were initially planted, we ended up, or rather the rains ended up carrying most of the initial leaves since they were tiny plants. Of course, they've grown larger and we had to add supports. So as you can see, as Naseko is spreading the leaves there when she was trying to reach one of the plants, you can see there's a stick there. We had to support them to kind of reduce the likelihood of the rains affecting them. We also dug trenches around, which would prevent most of the runoff water getting there. But in the future, and this must, I think this is a secret. I don't know if Naseko had mentioned it to you guys, but she's planning to add uh, planting beds where she could plant her plants, and then they would not be uh, at the mercies of the rains. But otherwise, as you can see, Naseko here is currently showing us the capsicum. I've just paused so that you can check them out. They are pretty dirty, and that's actually the effect of the rains. So when the rain is actually raining, most of the ground water, essentially the raindrops, essentially splashes on the soil and it attaches itself to the capsicum. So she just decided to harvest them since, okay, we were working under the assumption that most of the soil would essentially result, or rather cause the capsicum to start rotting on the plant. So we just decided to harvest them since they were, of course, at a reasonable size. And also, if you can see the leaves, I'm not exactly sure what the problem is. When you consulted one of our friends around, they mentioned that it might be the cold. So we are not exactly sure if it's the cold that's causing the leaves to have that yellowish color. So if you might have tips or have seen this before in your plants, maybe you can comment down below and recommend to us solutions for that. The same is actually occurring on the cucumber plants. So some of their leaves are turning yellowish, and we had assumed it's fertilizer and we added fertilizer. So and nothing changed. Actually, they continue doing like that. And someone mentioned it's cold. So maybe that's it. Of course, we pruned the leaves. Right now, they're currently not pruned, but we pruned them like a few days after harvesting, since we also realized, or rather read online, that some of the older leaves need to be removed from time to time so that the plant can essentially think that it needs to produce new leaves and grow thicker branches and a thicker stem. So it therefore results in a stronger plant overall, which can hold heavier and larger fruits. But maybe that's just my theory. So in this case, Naseko is trying to count them. I wasn't fast enough to count. At the moment, you're currently seeing women in tech. So Naseko is trying to figure out how to work that pipe, or rather hose, uh, properly. So she's currently trying to figure out whether she should switch to the gentle stream. There's a setting that's called gentle stream, and yeah, this is women in tech moment. She tried, and there you go. She's figured it out, and now she's asking for help so that she can wash them. The capsicum. I know I'm struggling. I was actually the one recording, so I was struggling to keep that scented and also spray the water. So maybe in the future, once we have a tap set up somewhere and a sink, it should make such easier. But for now, this is it. Yes, she's washing them pretty quickly. Yeah, there isn't really much to say. All I can say is that the capsicum were really beautiful. I'm not sure whether the camera can do the capsicum justice, but in my opinion, they look pretty nice. They look pretty good. Bearing in mind, all we did was just plant them, care for them a bit, like weeding, adding a bit of cover beneath them so that they don't lose lots of the water. And once the rains came in, supporting them, and yeah, making sure that they have enough manure, getting enough water, not lots of rain, by digging the trenches. And here we are. Like, I would say these are like 3 months since we harvested them, like at the end of April. This video is like a few days old, and Naseko has been pretty busy working on other stuff, so she requested that I just jump in and help her out in voicing over the video. So as you can see, the water was pretty dirty as a consequence of most of the soil that has splashed to the capsicum. Otherwise, they were pretty clean up until the rains got a bit heavier. So currently rinsing the bowl that she was using, and then we go back to rinsing them again before we put them in the fridge. So we decided on refrigerating them to kind of extend the shelf life. But I'd actually like to hear some of your tips for how you extend the shelf life for the different capsicum, because as you can see, we are producing more than we need, and we were not essentially producing them for to sell. We are just producing a few of them to use in our cooking. So if you have tips and tricks that you use to preserve capsicum, you can recommend them. And actually, I'm finding it weird calling them capsicum. We tend to call them hoho here, but I guess since this is a global video, I'd actually have to sneak a peek at Naseko's analytics when she's not looking, so that I can check whether she has viewers across the world. If she does, I'm guessing I should be using the word capsicum. But otherwise, yeah, it was a bountiful harvest. We had doubts initially when we started planting. Actually, funny thing, uh, Naseko, this is like the second time she's planting capsicum. The first time she had planted them from seeds, and they did not survive. The rains did their thing and they carried all the seeds by surface runoff. So they did not survive. And then we decided to buy seedlings, like the seeds that had already sprouted, and we have like a few leaves. We planted those ones. And the first rains that came after that, like it shredded all the leaves for some of the tinier seedlings. So that was a bit funny, but we ended up getting a good harvest nonetheless. So this was actually a stronger breed. She's thinking, I'm not sure if I'm supposed to be telling you this, but she's currently exploring how to plant the red and yellow ones. I've heard that it's slightly more complicated, but I guess we shall see. And yeah, I hope to see you guys in the next harvest if our plants survive or the garden itself survives, because as I hinted to you, she's planning on putting up, or rather making beds, so that she can essentially plant the stuff in there. So in that case, it's highly likely that some of these plants would have to go and she'd have to start from scratch, but I'm not sure. Otherwise, thank you guys for watching and the support that you've been showing her. And yeah, keep at it. Otherwise, until next time, or the next time that I'm requested to voice over these videos, See you then, and keep supporting. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And yeah, have a great one.